Well, welcome to Healthy and Active in the Couve. I am personal trainer Nick Medlock, and with me, as always, is Dr. Trent Corey, and we have some special things coming up for you guys. We're going to have some functional nutrition discussions with a functional nutritionist. I will not tell you her name yet, but it will be awesome to have her on. And we may have that as an ongoing thing if our schedules work out, so I'm excited about that. And big news, in a couple weeks, I believe it's the 21st, it's a Sunday at the end of September, we're going to be having a health fair here at Northwest Personal Training, and I'm bringing in a DEXA van, and that's a mobile DEXA scan unit. So that you can get your body composition measured, your bone density measured, and things like that. So far, we've almost booked everything, so we've got 2 slots left open. So if you're catching this at the right time, you may be able to hop into that. But either way, if it's still full, you can still come and check out the Health Expo part of it, the fair, for free, where Dr. Trent and some other health and wellness experts are going to be there sharing their value and their practice and their expertise around Vancouver downtown, and I look forward to being a part of that and then helping share with the community all these avenues for health and wellness, because that's what we're all about here. So today especially I want to display his pride and joy, so to speak. I'm super excited about it. Softwave technology, we talked a little bit about it last season on Healthy and Active in the Couve, but he's going to bring his device to this health and wellness fair. And so, Dr. Trent, would you like to talk more about the Softwave?
Oh yeah, I'd love to, Nick. So thank you so much. Yeah, it's very basically it's been a really big game changer in my clinic. It's something where I'm still doing a thorough biomechanical exam and making sure the movements that you need to do are correct. And we're working on your movement is a skill. We need to get better at moving better. But the main thing also is if someone's really inflamed, can we get things to calm down sooner? And that's what's been great about the SoftWave TRT machine, which stands for Tissue Regenerative Technologies. And what that is, it's basically stimulating your own body's stem cell response and your own body's immune system response to perceived injury by the machine, because it sends this very strong pulse to the area. And the clients who have had it on a sore spot, if you have your shoulder, there's certain spots that may not hurt, and then you go right over the spot and it's like, ooh, that is it. And it's kind of like showing where you might have a minor tear in your rotator cuff, for example, or some sort of labral issue. We can kind of go over that spot and know that's where we need to address treatment. And then people afterwards will feel generally pretty good. Sometimes it lasts for a few days or even longer. And sometimes people are sore. It just depends. But basically, it really helps people get that jump start going, especially if somebody's had an issue for a long time, or if somebody's had scarring or adhesion, or post surgery, or any sort of thing that's been going on for a while. We can actually direct the treatment onto it. And so I'll just show you real quick if that's okay, Nick.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll just bring it over. And so yeah, basically this is the machine here. It's kind of hard because I'm holding my laptop, but this is the machine. And what it is you can look, I'll just bring the head of it up. So this is the sound head, or what we call the applicator, and then I'm going to fill it up. So actually, as we talk, it'll fill up. But basically, inside there's water. You can kind of see how that water is moving around in there. And then as that goes, there's a membrane here that's holding. There's water in here, and then as that goes, you might see that should pop up. See that kind of bubble up?
Yeah.
There you go. And then from there, you're creating basically a pulse. When you do this, I'm just going to pull it like this. So like you can put your hand on there, and this is what I do with every patient. Just to come in, they're like, what the heck is this thing? Are you going to shock me? Because people call it shockwave therapy. It's one of many different kind of shockwave therapies. This is an unfocused shockwave device that actually helps with it's a very broad wave that goes into the body, so it's very safe. You're not going to, other ones can be very focal and can cause damage if you're not doing it right. So but basically I'll have them put their hand here, they'll just feel a little pulse, and that's all it's doing. And since our body's mostly water, it's going through that tissue, and over an uninjured part of the body doesn't have a major thing. But then we put ultrasound gel on a sore area, on the skin, directly on it, and then we'll go through it. And then people will then, I think you had the experience of it,
Yes, I
there's
did.
certain spots that will that will light up. So you'll be,
Yeah.
and usually I tell people it should be 5, 6, or 7 out of 10 discomfort. That's quite
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah.
So we want that because that's how the body responds. And so
Yeah.
we do that. It really helps get the body kind of activated. And then, yeah, we go through a series of visits. Most people within a few visits are noticeably finding a big difference in their pain and their symptoms.
Yeah.
And that gets them kind of towards, out of the woods a bit. That makes them feel better. It
Yeah.
encourages you to move more, right? If you don't hurt, you feel it better. But the actual process of repair takes a couple months or more, actually.
Okay.
But a lot of times you can feel better sooner, which is so super encouraging, and that's
Yeah.
why it's been so popular. It's fun to get a good result sooner, and then we can then educate on proper movements, things you need to do to minimize anything that's irritating the body, and
Yeah.
then also things that are working to maximize your health or get certain areas maybe more mobile or stronger or whatever things that we need to work on. We make sure we're addressing all those things that are causing that thing to begin with. So
Yeah.
it's been a great tool in the toolbox. It's definitely not the whole thing, but boy, this thing has been really gangbusters for so many issues.
Yeah.
Plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, posterior tib, you got shin splints. I see a lot of runners, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Knee pain, patellar tendonitis, patellofemoral syndrome, Osgood-Schlatter's, you got IT band, you got meniscus tears, you can kind of go up the way, IT band
Yeah.
stuff. So we kind of make sure we work on those things. And what's great about this, the depth of this. So and also low back pain. So if I'm on someone's back, actually, this is like a flashlight. And so I tell people it's like a flashlight because that wave is propagating through the tissues about this deep. Let's say like a
Wow.
soup can. So
Yeah.
some people, I'm on their back, right? I'm on their back working here, and then they can feel it in their hip,
Yeah.
which is really cool, and it's kind of
Yeah.
a confirmation of what's actually going on with it. So, yeah, I'm really excited to have it. I'm definitely, one of a few people around it have it. I'm really lucky to have one, and I felt like it was a thing that once I knew about it, I couldn't not know about it, and I
Yeah.
knew that was
Exactly.
helpful. So
Yeah.
that's why I went and got one, and here I am with it, and I'm glad I made the decision. It's
Yeah.
definitely made a life-changing shift for a bunch of people who were kind of losing hope on what they
That's
can do to
awesome.
move. So it's been great. Yeah,
I have a couple of questions about it. I mean,
sure.
obviously, it's been life changing for a lot of people, and some people that I deal with. I would have questions for you because I would definitely want to refer. But because we're doing the bone density scan coming up, this is fresh on my mind. How does that soft wave technology aid with therapy for arthritis, osteopenia, osteoporosis, and things like that?
Yeah, it can be absolutely wonderful. I've had people with really bad deformities in their feet. I use this as an example, like
Yeah.
you got the bunions that kind of go like this.
Yep.
Your joints are all mangled. I've had people where you think, well, it's all arthritic, and the joints are the way they are. It's just going to be painful. But we've been able to apply this to many of those folks and have some changes where they're able to move around much better. And
That's
so.
awesome.
You definitely don't know to the extent of how well it will help until you try it. So I tell people, try to get people here on a first visit to see if we can make a shift of any sort, see if we can get at least a 20% improvement with their symptoms that first visit. Usually we can achieve that for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get a little bit more, but I try to tell people if we notice any bit of drop in your symptoms, it's an encouraging sign that, a series of these would be really helpful for that restorative process. And some people, the more chronic it is, they might need kind of some re-ups on it, like every month or so, or every couple months, or sometimes every 3 or 4 months. Just depends on
Yeah.
who it is or what they have going on. Some people, they don't need to come back. A lot of times, if there's a process like a degenerative joint condition, you might have to come back and work it a little bit more. And that's totally fine because people are happy. They know when they come back and get it, they're going to feel better, and then they can go on and live their life. And as they stay active, as we know, activity is so important for
Yeah.
the arthritic condition or some, osteoporosis or osteopenia. We need to move. We need
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
load. And so we want to encourage that. And obviously, if we can get things to feel better, if it's less inflamed, it feels better to weight bear through. You're going to start
Yeah.
moving more, and it's going to be overall very, very good therapeutic effect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I have another question as a follow up, and you may or may not have an answer to this, but this is it's a little bit out of both of our fields, but I'm just curious because you were mentioning the stem cell involvement, and I'm just curious. Do you know of any research that's been done on like if organs can be treated with the soft wave, like for kidney stones or gallstones or any kind of like organ damage to bring that in for healing?
It's a good question. With actually this machine, the soft wave, the same technology, so shockwave technology, stems from World War II, where they learned about depth charges and how,
Yeah.
an explosion under the water could create damage to things, and how the effect mechanically was affecting certain materials. But then they learned medical applications in what's called lithotripsy, which is for, you mentioned kidney. So they actually found that you could create these waves inside the body towards the ureter or wherever that kidney stone was, and you could send that pulse into it and kind of break up that calcium deposit. So then it was easier to pass. And so
Nice.
that's kind of where a lot of the technology kind of became more of a medical therapeutic application. And so it's really fascinating. It's really
That is
cool. And
fascinating. Yeah.
so the effect is also, so it's really cool with that. So, but I also know, and Softwave folks have told me that, and I've seen videos of it, that when cardiothoracic surgery is happening, they'll actually have this. Obviously, it's sterile and everything, but they'll actually, they're repairing the vessels and they're very delicate tissues, and then they'll deliver some of the pulses
Wow.
to the heart, where those,
Cool.
the epithelium's trying to attach and to grow, so they know that stimulation can be something that helps improve the vascularity and
Oh,
that connection. So the applications are pretty good. They're also using it for other things. Some people may have even heard this. This has actually been used for erectile dysfunction,
wow.
because you actually create, a pulse through there. You're actually creating more blood flow. And
Yeah.
so a lot of people know about that one.
Yeah.
And
I
then
hadn't heard of that one, but it makes sense with the epithelial cells in the heart and, all the,
yeah,
tissues are tissues.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. So, and then also, it's been FDA approved. I mean, it's been FDA approved. It's an FDA cleared device. But for neuropathy, it's working amazing. I've seen some really, really interesting
That's
pictures
awesome.
where even just 5 minutes later, you could see this really dark colored foot turn into some really nice pink hues that you can tell that the
Nice.
blood flow has changed pretty immediately. So that's been fun to see, and I've seen that for sure for people as well, like,
Yeah.
where they definitely notice more tingling or some sensation into their foot.
Yeah.
I haven't done as many things direct. Some people, like, as an aside, oh yeah, I've been having less vascularity issue or having more vascularity problems in my foot. They're coming here for pain or something, and then they may notice it's changing. So that's encouraging. It's really just kind of, for me, as I've learned about it, as I've gotten through more experience and seeing in the clinic, you get more of the proof of concept when you see people have these effects. So
Yeah.
it's been encouraging because, technology's here. We're in the 21st century. We have a lot of things that we can apply to the body in a very safe, non-invasive way and
Yeah.
help the body improve its healing. So it's just been a really big game changer for my clinic to make sure that we're doing all the things possible to make sure you get the most complete healing possible.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome, and exciting. And I want to research more about it.
yeah,
On my end, even just for the bone density and muscle growth, I don't have those kinds of tools because it's not appropriate, for me as a personal trainer to do that. But at our studio, the coolest device that we have is called a power plate, and it does the vibration technology. And I say, the studies are, there's too many studies back and forth on whether it creates or helps to create more bone density. But the other studies are very, very solid that it helps with posture, it helps with lymphatic movement, it helps with like the tiny stabilization of your muscles.
yeah,
And when I am able to add strength training, resistance training while you're on that vibration plate, then you're building muscle resistance and building muscles that do increase bone density, just because you're putting that extra load on there. And so when you have all of these available things with physical therapy devices, and then seeing a trainer, the world is just expanding now, so that osteopenia isn't a death sentence, or all of these extra things that you could fall into, like this fatalistic mentality, and get really depressed, and which slows you down and makes you move less. These things can actually make you move more and get excited about movement, because there's hope, that your body, can rebuild and heal.
Yeah.
And if you can't move doing jumping jacks, I train people that at home, I've given myself plantar fasciitis by just jumping into jump rope too fast, too soon, too much. And now my favorite thing is to have this TRX at a wide angle, because I got a big gym room. And then you go at an angle that's so far, maybe even 45 degrees.
Yeah.
So the impact is so light, but you can get this serious cardio workout, and you feel like you're doing jumping jacks, or you're jump rope and all of that. And it's just, the impact is so light when you learn how to land lightly and not be stiff. And so there's a lot of great ways to combat the lack of bone density and rebuild it back, and while building muscle and cardiovascular endurance and all of these things.
Absolutely. You're right, Nick. That's great. I mean, it's so true. There's so many things. And, I always want, part of this podcast, I just want to create some, because it is tough, because you hear these tendencies for us to be, hey, we're degrading down towards the end, or what,
Yeah.
we do have a decline in our natural scale, but we've seen with so many dynamic 60, 70-year-old, you see so many people in your gym that just are dynamos, and it's because they worked out and they're really optimistic. And then also the way the world is going in terms of the rate of information that we're learning, and machine learning, and like all the things that we're gaining in terms of technological advances and what's working best, we get a faster curve of improvement. So within our lifetime, we're going to have so many just absolutely amazing health shifts. I think I really want to give people that hope that, there's a lot of things that go bad, but there's a lot of amazing things that I think we're going to be just dumbfounded by, like, oh, we used to do it that way, and we used to think this was this bad. Like, we have a potential for all of us to live for well into our 90s, and, with very, very good health.
Yeah.
With that just being a choice, and, getting away from certain things that are our temptations of the age and distractions of the age.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one thing I just always want to give people, that optimism, because it's there if you want it.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I mean, I'm going to go a little philosophical on you for a second.
Right.
The temptations of the age. Every time technology is introduced, it's got the potential to be destructive or creative. And right now we've got that AI powerhouse. And I've seen some doctors talk about, in our lifetimes, using AI as something that can help diagnose faster, like within seconds. But then at the same time, there's the energy and resource and water that it takes up. I've heard some people are, having to have water shortages in their town, where these AI engines, so to speak, where they're just taking up all the water resources in these towns that they're in.
Yeah.
And so, but I think that's still a learning curve. We've got to use the best of the ability for it, but then also make sure that it corresponds with the our ability to keep it going, and keep it consistent, and keep it ecologically not destructive,
Sustainable.
because yeah, sustainable. That was the word I was looking for. It just wasn't coming out. So, I mean, there's, at the beginning of, civilization, so to speak, we had bricks that were either used to protect your farming and livestock and cities and everything, but it could also, within that, you could develop, warriors and armies to send out. So, there's two sides, even to just a simple brick technology, and it's always been that way. Socrates is reported through Plato of being afraid of books, because it's going to make people dumber.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So true. Well, I think, there's a lot of ancient, old, brand new type of
Yeah,
thing. So, like, there's things that, the more we kind of come across, it always seems new, but like, in Ecclesiastes, they say, there's nothing new under the sun. There's
exactly.
always something like it just comes around in some different flavor that we think is new. And actually, a
Yeah,
lot of times we just come back to principles like we talk about a lot, just getting
yeah,
to nature and just letting our bodies get some de-stress. We got to have some relationships. We definitely want to get natural sunlight. We want to do natural movement. All those things that we promote here are super important. But now we have more confirmation with all the stuff we've learned that a
yeah,
lot of this stuff is actually still pretty darn solid. That
yeah,
I think across all the studies that have come across, I mean, so much is just so much on the case of just doing good exercise, being regular, doing healthy movement, getting out in nature. All those things are still like, hey,
yeah,
people were doing that a long, long time ago. But I
exactly.
think since we have so many other things, that's where I think a lot of us, will just get distracted.
Yeah.
So it's
And our world helps us be distracted more and more.
yeah,
I've been preaching this lately to a lot of my clients. It's better to have exercise snacks throughout the whole day
yeah.
than it is to just crush it in the gym at 5:30 and then sit for 13 hours and then
Oh,
go watch TV and then lay in bed for 8 hours.
right, right. Yeah, because you think about the high percentage of that you're not moving and how that's stagnant. We need to have a flow, right? Yin and yang,
Yeah.
and we need to have the ability to not, we do need our time for rest too. Some people are over yang, right? And they're
Yeah.
going way active. And then some people are way too yin, and a lot of work is yin, and there's a lot of mind power, but not
Yeah.
enough body movement. So we need to kind of stabilize that out. If it's that 10-minute walk at lunch or just getting out in the morning or walking the dog, whatever you're doing, or just doing some air squats or some pull-ups in the door frame.
Yeah.
Get creative and, or just hop on your rebounder or your plate, right?
Yeah.
Just make it
Exactly.
fun. That's what kids are good for, that they're just find fun things to do and they just go mess around and move their bodies. And
Exactly.
we have a lot to learn from them,
Oh, for
all the
sure.
time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, awesome, Trent. Well, thank you so much for today. And then everybody out there, we will send information through Facebook and YouTube and everything. But it's at Northwest Personal Training Sunday. If I get the date right, it's the 21st,
Yep.
and it's going to start at 8:30 and it's going to last until 11. The health fair inside the building is free. When you do sign up for the DEXA scan van outside, you have to sign up online with that, and I'll provide a QR code with a flyer in the information that we set out. But I hope to see you all there. And Trent, you're going to be there displaying everything that you do.
I know it's gonna be great. I'm so excited. We just have the machine inside of Northwest Personal Training is gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
Anybody who's willing to want to try it, we're gonna do free demos. Then we'll also have special pricing if you do want to continue and try it because it's really amazing technology. I want everybody to have at least a working knowledge of what this can do. And the future's bright for so many people who are maybe feeling like they're stuck with their movement. You can get so much better, and I have the technology to kind of get you started on that way. So I'm excited to show it.
Yeah, I'm excited to have everybody there. So, and then if you're a fan of the podcast, subscribe, share it, and meet us there.
Awesome. Awesome, Nick. Well, thanks so much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.